Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the TraderMerlin show. The wait is over. Nvidia's results are in. Pretty surprising numbers. I actually thought we would see a little bit weak numbers posted, and year-over-year numbers are nothing less than spectacular for Nvidia. So I'm going to look at a bunch of that today. Tell you about the Palo Alto Networks as well was another one. I made a trade on Palo Alto, total gamble trade today, but I feel kind of bored. I haven't been doing a lot of trading lately, so I put something in that one, so we'll walk you through that trade, how that one's set up, and of course, go to whatever list of questions you have and have a little bit of fun today. So let me start things off with our graphic here. Ridiculous, she says. Yeah, their earnings are pretty crazy. Nvidia, the wait is over. So, of course, we've got Jensen Huang there celebrating his victory. AI did a pretty good job of rendering him out. His hands are even actually rather decent. But what were the numbers like? What was the big talk du jour? Well, I found a graphic that actually summarized it pretty well. These are the Q4 2024 actuals versus estimates, and pretty impressive. They thought they were going to make 13.4 billion in EBITDA. They came out 13.6. Phenomenal, but what's more important there is the year-over-year growth in EBITDA was 983%. Now, of course, that is absolutely not sustainable. There's not a CEO of any company on the planet that will tell you that they're going to sustain a 983% year-over-year growth rate on EBITDA. But that's a pretty phenomenal one. And the other part there that was exciting was their revenue numbers. You can see a 240% year-over-year expectation. They actually beat that. They came out at 265% year-over-year growth on revenue. So unbelievable numbers being posted by Nvidia. I saw a graphic earlier today that was showing that the value of Nvidia is worth as much as I think every component of XLE of energy combined. I was like, well, I need to verify that one, but that's crazy to think that one company has gone up so much and done so much in a very short window of time. So pretty phenomenal numbers. These are some of the other pieces here which I thought were pretty astounding actually, and this is year over year. So year-over-year earnings per share has increased 765%. I'm just blown away at that number. And not to take anything away from Nvidia, it's just you don't see those kind of growth numbers, except typically you see them in small caps that have very little business revenue, and they land a contract, and all of a sudden, their revenues have doubled and tripled in 10x. This is a $1 trillion corporation here, and you're seeing revenue up 265%. Your data center operations up 409%. Gaming up 56%. Automotive actually showing a decline there of negative 0.4%, so a slight pullback. But their EBITDA and earnings per share, just great numbers posted by Nvidia. So I guess the big question is, what did it do? Well, let's go over and look at our charts and bring up NVDA. It started off looking kind of like our popcorn trade of the day, right? Which is that volatile bouncing action that kind of moves all over the place. Well, it had that, but here is the current chart. And you can see that long bottoming tail. If you look at from when the market closed today, I'll do a quick little percentage chart here. From when the market closed, it sold off 4.45%. And from those market lows, we saw it rally to current price right now, about 15% move up in Nvidia. Currently up 9.82% in that after-hours session. So great news, especially for anybody who is in tech. If you look at the NASDAQ 100 futures here, you can see obviously the impact of Nvidia surging the NASDAQ higher from where we close. And of course, you can look at things like the QQQs and the after-hours. That's also showing a big gain. The NASDAQ 100 ETF right now up 1.04% in that after-hours session, where it was down 0.4 during the regular trading hours. So not the best trading day, but once you get to after-hours, my goodness, what a fantastic beat there for Nvidia. Now, what I haven't taken the time to dig into this, and I really want to know more about where this is coming from, their growth expectations, but part of what caused this surge in the after-hours was they did raise their forecast for going forward. Basically said, things are looking great. I feel like there's optimism in AI. The CEO had some nice comments about their company. So all in all, looking great. Now, I guess the question I have is, how does this bode for the entire kind of chip making sector? So I was looking at SMH today. You can see here in the after-hours session, SMH ripping to the upside. But remember, this is very biased. When we look at the construction of an index like that, let me bring a bar chart here, and we'll show you what SMH is made up of. SMH is one of the more popular one of the more popular semiconductor ETFs. So if you're looking at buying into, semis, you could potentially look at SMH, and I'll look at the constituents here, and you're like, well, am I getting exposure to Nvidia? Yeah, you are. It's 24, almost 25% is Nvidia in that one right now. So that's going to be dragging up everything else with it. It would be nice to see a semiconductor ETF reactions that doesn't include Nvidia, right? How is the rest of this pack doing with Nvidia's success? My assumption would be they're following fairly closely, but Nvidia clearly just ripping to the upside and leading everything higher. Yet ARM as well. I didn't look at ARM today. Let's take a peek at that one. Yeah, nice sympathy rally here. Of course, ARM being in bed with Nvidia. Of course, they're in bed with AMD and Intel as well. What does Tom say? If you, Merlin, bought all the shares of Nvidia, the earnings would pay you back to break even in 98 years. Not overvalued. I'm not buying it. BMET says I pulled them all those after hours with it. Yep. And that's typical, right? It's funny how it shifted from Intel used to be the king. I remember back in the 90s, wherever Intel went, that's where the market went. And then, you had that same kind of thing with Cisco Systems, wherever Cisco went. That was the representation of all technology. And now you have, I think, pretty clearly, you have Nvidia, which wherever it goes is going to lead the NASDAQ at this point. Now, you still have Apple and Microsoft being the big two. But I find interesting is the talk track. If you look at the narrative in the industry, the talk track around Apple has gotten real quiet. You don't hear it as the headline news piece all the time. It's Nvidia. It's Nvidia this, Nvidia that. That's something that I've been kind of listening to for a while, because the industry likes to latch on to specific companies as the bellwether, as the one that's leading the charge. And while Microsoft has been doing great, they haven't been in the tip of everybody's tongue, whereas Nvidia has been. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens in the next. I'd like to see what happens this full year with Nvidia. Does this overtake? Could it overtake Microsoft and Apple as the most valuable company in the world? Goldman Sachs made a statement today saying that Nvidia is the most important company in the world. I thought that was kind of interesting as well. Basically saying without Nvidia, we don't progress with all this technology and innovation and company improvements with regards to cost, etc. So very good. AMD, Intel also up after us. Yeah, I would assume that would be the case, Mark. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Let's do AMD. AMD having a nice pop, 3.6% after hours. INTC, Intel. Intel not as much, only 1.15%. Let's go. Just curious what Broadcom is doing. Broadcom had a nice surge as well. Yeah, that's the point we've been trying to make here, Andres. And I was I don't expect it. I don't expect Nvidia to say, hey, we're experiencing increased competition. I don't think it's there yet. But given the success of Nvidia and their dominant marketplace position, there's definitely going to be companies that are diving into that arena as quickly as possible. There was a government grant given to a company, yesterday, day before, of hundreds of millions of dollars to build semiconductor chip infrastructure in the United States, which I think is going to get a lot more pressure from our politicians to not have as much reliance on Taiwan or Taiwan Semiconductor or any other foreign country to get our chips from. Let's build them in-house and do it domestically. And I think that's going to be a major campaign piece going into the election. I know it doesn't seem like it would be, but it should be. If we want to keep control and have kind of that power, we definitely need to keep it at home. Now, to Andre's point, NVIDIA has no competition. Remember, Tesla had pretty much no competition either. And now Tesla has a good amount of competition. Just about every other automaker has an electric vehicle at this point, and they're doing more and more push in that direction. Does that mean that Tesla is done? No, it just means that they have another issue to contend with, which is competition. It feels to me like NVIDIA has got at least another year or two head start on the competition. I don't know. I'm sure some of you are probably much more in tune with the details of Tesla and all the competition, or NVIDIA and all the competition, but it feels to me like they have that much of a competitive head start that they'll kind of lock themselves in a dominant position. But ultimately down the road, you'll have more increased competition. But right now, it's an NVIDIA show. Intel's getting $10 billion from the government too. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that company. was a one I'd never heard of before, but they're getting like hundreds of millions of dollars from the government to build infrastructure in the United States, which I'm all for, right? Bring jobs to the U.S., keep that proprietary information and chip technology. It'd be nice if we could keep that under lock and key on our grounds versus have to use somebody else's that could be pulled away at any moment. Bob went to college with Bob Noyce. Must be Noyce to know that guy. Yeah, EV sales are good in China, and that's if you look at what Tesla's issue is, you've got to walk that fine line, and you have to shake hands and kiss babies, so to speak, for them in China. There still is some hostility between countries that there really shouldn't be, in my opinion. We could probably work some things out here, but the challenge with China is their totalitarian aspect. If they want, in snap of the fingers, they could kick Tesla out of there altogether. Same thing for Apple or any U.S. company. So there's always that shelf risk, I call it, where they could just take your product off the shelves and you're done. You're out of the country. And we could technically do that here as well, but China seems to do it much quicker. All right, so those are your Intel number, or your Nvidia numbers. Man, I'm all over the place today. Those are your Nvidia numbers. All in all, fantastic. Again, looking great in the after-hour session as well. We'll have to see what it looks like when markets open and see if there's any play there. I was hoping for a bigger downside move on this daily chart here. I was really hoping we would see it get down into that 630 mark, but we didn't even get close. Your low that you saw in the after-hour session, which I will show you here yet again. Your low in that after-hour session was 645, and my area, my zone was right at 630. So unfortunately, nope. Thank you, Big Ed. That's the one. Global Foundries, yeah. It was like they got like 600 million, but up to 1.5. I mean, that's a serious amount of money getting from the government here. Global Foundries, yeah. Now, I'm not saying that Global Foundries is going to be an Nvidia killer. I don't think it's a question of it being an Nvidia killer. I don't think that's the direction I'm headed. It's more about bringing all of that process to U.S. soil as opposed to relying on external. And I think there's several politicians who have been petitioning this and trying to get some money for it. So all in all, I'm good with it. My big thing I've said many times in this program is the cost of labor in some of these other countries, Taiwan, China, is far less than what it is here. So they have a competitive advantage with each chip produced because the cost to make that chip is so much lower. So I think we'll still have issues with that. I doubt you're going to get people saying, yeah, I'll work at a semiconductor plant for minimum wage. No, probably going to want more than that, and that'll give us problems. Margaret says, Merlin, did you ever go to those huge markets in China where they sell knockoff phones, watches, computers, and clothes? These markets in Hong Kong and Philippines also. I haven't been to the ones in China. I haven't been to China. Well, I've been to the airports in China, but in my opinion, that doesn't count. But I have been to those types of markets in Thailand. And yeah, you get competition all the time. It's easy to knock off a handbag. It's very difficult to knock off a computer chip that fits in, that works, right? You kind of find out that your handbag is fake, or you go into it knowing that your handbag is fake. Will we get fake computer components? Well, I'm sure they exist. I don't know. Will analysts start raising price targets on Nvidia tomorrow? Yes. You can all but bet on it, Michael. It'd be interesting to see. See, what's interesting is these analysts, if they did their job correctly, they would have known what these numbers were going to be. They should have been much clearer on it, and there wouldn't have been a beat on earnings. They would have come in right in line. Had they known that, they would have raised their earnings expectations beforehand. But what you get typically the day after, they're probably crafting, they maybe have already crafted the memos right now, is going to see what the final numbers are and the expectations are for these analysts. You saw a couple of them on stocks recently where the stock sold off and all of a sudden they raised their price target, like happened with Palo Alto Networks, right? You had another one of the analysts who was probably getting beat badly. They lowered their forecast from, I think, 390 to 380. Well, it's trading at 270. You're a ways off from that. So yes, they will definitely start raising their price targets tomorrow. It will open up some really interesting discussion, but for the most part, these analysts are going to position themselves in, see, we've been saying we're bullish, and we even raised our price target to prove it. Here you go. So yes, 100% you're going to see them raising their numbers tomorrow. Can't see Margaret's chat post. I miss them. How do I get them back? I don't know. I see Margaret's chat posts. You must have blocked her. Wow. Big Ab's blocking Margaret. Man, the feuding's going to start here on the TraderMerlin channel. Yeah, they've already started raising the targets. Yeah, I would imagine, Mario. It's going to be, if you're not raising your price target tomorrow morning on Nvidia based off those numbers that I just showed you, off of this stuff right here, if you're not raising your price target off of this, you're going to lose your job. These numbers are just astounding and beating, and then they raise the forecast going forward. So it'd be really surprising, in my opinion, to see anybody downgrade them tomorrow. I would take a wager it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Does Nvidia have some type of moat which protects the competitors from stepping up to the plate? Yes. In some ways they do, and I would say that that's going to be their proprietary technology in the way that they compile that processor chip, right? So they're getting the vast majority of their chips from Taiwan Semiconductor. Nothing's unique about that. It's how they put them together and build that product using those chips that's proprietary. Now, there was President Biden has said that the Nvidia A100 chip is not to be sold to China. I believe he said also to the Middle East, which of course they're going to get that product anyway if they want. I mean, someone could buy one and smuggle it in, because I believe that they're worried that they're going to, reverse engineer it and take that product over. I don't know the weirdness of that conspiracy theory, but bottom line is it's not going to take long for a company to come through, buy what their high-end top-of-the-line chip for whatever price they get it for, break it apart, reverse engineer it. I mean, that happens time and time again with products that go to China, and then we start to see the knockoffs come. I think that's an inevitability. The question is, how long is that going to take? Is it going to be in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year? These companies that are going to be making these fake components, these knockoffs, still have to get the chips, right? They still have to build that product. And is it going to be as good? You will certainly see. At this point, I don't think it's necessarily a moat, but that's their competitive head start. Now, if you look at something like ARM, we talked about how ARM is a unique business prospect in the way that they are kind of customizing chip processing and building and selling the designs to it, and you license the design from them. That could increase at a more rapid pace the release of technology that competes with NVIDIA's product. All in all, what does it mean for you and me? I think it goes back to Moore's Law. Moore's Law stating, God, it's been so long since I was in college, but Moore's Law, I believe, states that every 18 months, the price of a computer component drops by 50% and is twice as fast. If I'm not mistaken, that's what that Moore's Law was. It's been so long since I've quoted Moore's Law. But when you get more of this competition coming in and knockoff products, you'll see NVIDIA's profit margins start to shrink. But for now, they can sell it for whatever they want because demand is so off the charts for these devices. They can pretty much sell them for whatever they want. If you want to be an AI and have your programs run using this artificial intelligence, you're going to need their chip to be a top shelf competitor. So you're going to pay whatever you're going to pay for that device. It goes back to we talked about inflationary numbers and why businesses are raising their prices. They interviewed some handbag CEO. I think it was Fendi, or I don't know. I don't buy handbags. That handbag was like $700. Now it's $4,000. In the interview, they asked him, said, "Well, why'd you raise your price to $4,000?" He says, "Because people are going to pay it. People are paying it. And when they stop paying it, that's when we'll stop raising prices." NVIDIA is in that driver's seat right now where they could take that chip and say, well, it's $10,000 normally. We're jumping up to $30,000. People are still going to buy it at $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 for that chip because you must have it to be a contender. What else we got? Yes, I think, and that's to do with bringing U.S. production back. Yes, exactly. And that's, I think that most of us that are Americans in here would probably agree that that's a good move. Let's reduce our dependence on something that's so critical to infrastructure, and by bringing it back home, taking it from international countries. Now, are we so worried about clothing and textiles and maybe corn? Maybe not so much those things, but technology is what drives the U.S. I think it drives global economies. And if countries take a back seat here or step backwards with regards to innovation and technology, they're losing out on efficiencies. These efficiencies which could help their products, their discovery of so many new things. So you've got to have technology, and we want to make sure we have that here in the U.S. Yeah, exactly, Lisa. And John O'Donnell pounded this one into my head many, many years ago. So most of you know I have a finance degree, and I would argue that the finance degree actually did me a disservice because it made me believe that the markets function in this way. But once you actually sit in it in the real world, it functions this way. It's kind of like telling a kid, yeah, driving a simulator on PlayStation and playing these games on cars is like real life. No, it's not. You can't hit a wall doing 200 miles an hour and just have everything fine. You just reset. You crash. You burn. You die. So, yeah, John O'Donnell gave me a lot of real-world economic lessons, and one of them is the cure for a high price is a higher price. I love that one. How does the historical stock price of Nvidia compare with the price of Bitcoin? Well, we could actually look at that. Let me see. I'm not sure if this will do it. So there's Nvidia, and let's just go and add in over this. We can add in Bitcoin USD. So there's your correlation there. Nvidia being the actual candlesticks, and Bitcoin being the bottom solid line down here. You know, if you go back historically, Bitcoin's going to beat it. For sure, Bitcoin's going to beat it. Yeah, there you go. So definitely crushing it. But if you go into more recently, like say go back into 2020 or 2018, well, it's Nvidia all the way. Nvidia right now, what looks to be up about 1,000%. 1,000% from 2018, whereas Bitcoin is only up 361%. But if we go from the lows recently, you know, both of them really kind of started vaulting back in 2022. Bitcoin's only up 143%, and Nvidia is up roughly 340. So yeah, it's far exceeding Bitcoin's performance. I think that will change. I think that by next year, Bitcoin will have overtaken by a large margin Nvidia. But that's just because of historical price action. But good question. You can do that in TradingView by clicking that little plus button up here at the top and just adding in your other chart. Efficient market theory. There we go. Yes, that was the one. Efficient market theory should be debunked and should be removed from education taught in the United States of America. Efficient market theory says that the markets function because everybody has access to the same information at the same time. And if you've been involved in the financial markets for more than a day, you understand that is complete BS. Markets function because everybody has access to different information at different points in time. There's no way it's efficient market theory. Efficient market theory will tell you that prices reach an equilibrium point because of buying and selling, which I do agree with that. But saying that we all have access to the same information at the same time, no way. There's not a chance. Jay Patel says, is market capitalization a perfect way to measure a company's value or worth? No. There is no perfect way to measure a company's value or worth. There's a combination of things that you could look at that would lead you to believe that something's worth what it is. And I'm not a fundamental analyst, but if you are like a Larry, you know, you love looking for those things, and you're looking at, you know, book to book values and PE ratios and income statements and balance sheets and income growth. All of these metrics will help you gain a greater understanding is if something what a company is truly worth. But I think market capitalization is not a representation at all of what a company is truly worth. It's a sign of expectations and how much money is poured into that security. So you look at the market capitalization. Let's go to FinViz here real quick. By the way, I took it away. Dab nabbit. I was showing something in my crypto class this morning, which I thought you guys would really enjoy, but I have since removed it. Let's go to FinViz real quick. And I'll bring this one up over here. So you go to FinViz. I always like their screener because it's real easy to use. And I'm just going to sort here by market capitalization. All right, so you have currently Google is back on top of Nvidia. Nvidia has fallen to 6th place again. But you know, you look at these, and does this mean that this is the you said what a company is truly worth? Microsoft, Apple, you know, these are products that are in everything. I mean, Microsoft and Apple, we talk about computers, that's the two that are leading the charge. Microsoft, you know, you got the whole Office suite and all kind of Microsoft Azure and their database stuff. They're everywhere. Apple is everywhere as well in a different aspect. You do have computers, but it's, you know, it's phones, it's their store, it's services. You got Google, right? Everyone's searching for Google and all that. Where's Nvidia? I mean, to me, it's not a true estimation of what the value of Nvidia is. It's an expectation that down the road, in the future, we're going to see it do much better. But honestly, if you look at market saturation and where it's at, Nvidia certainly has got a lot with video cards, and they're doing well there. But right now this is driven off of expectations of future growth with AI. So is that truly what it's worth? No, that's the expectation of what it might be worth down the road. We're all operating off this set of assumptions, at least not we are all. I'm operating off a set of assumptions that AI will continue to thrive, that AI is going to continue to become a more integrated part of society. I believe that, but I could be wrong, and all of a sudden, you see this thing fall apart. So it's a belief system, really, when you look at market capitalization. It just means how much money people have put into that company. I remember that Corey Lane said that he was bad in school and he's bad at math. But yeah, not only he's a great teacher and he's a great trader. So you look at what he does, and I would argue he's great at math, but he has mastered a specific set of math, right? He doesn't need to know all of it. He's probably not out there using Pythagorean's theorem or, calculating parabolas, but he can tell you real quick the deltas and the thetas and the gammas of options. Off the snap his fingers, he knows those numbers. So in that sense, math, he's a whiz. So yeah, he may not have been good at math overall, but he became a specialist in math and really good at what he does. Nvidia is a B2B company. Microsoft, Apple, Google are B2C. Yeah, Microsoft definitely does B2B as well. I mean, they're doing database server structures and setup and things like that. Apple, not really. But yes, Nvidia is also B2C, let's be fair here, because their chips are going into products that I'm using, and I'm buying an Nvidia video card, so I am buying a direct product from Nvidia, like the GeForce. I mean, this show is powered by Nvidia, right? I'm using a GeForce 600 or something like that, so I can run 3 monitors and have dedicated RAM to it. So yeah, they are utilized, but I think the big growth prospects and the reason why they're soaring is not home computer video cards. It's institutional grade AI stuff. All right, did I have questions that came in? I did not. There was some on the video, the YouTube channel, but I didn't get a chance to check those. Let me do a live one here to make sure I can get to that one. Go to the YouTube studio. And of course, I always encourage you guys to send in your questions on the YouTube channel if you want anything answered. There were 2 on yesterday's show. What were they? Eric, so sorry I forgot last time. I have a question. On your 1% account, how many trades do you average a month? On the 1% account, I am probably 4 a month. It's been light. I've been waiting on that 1% account to sell call options against my silver, which I have not done. I've been waiting to do that, and I was hoping we'd see a rally move up silver here a little bit over the past few days. Instead, it's been a pretty sharp 2-day drop. B2B is business to business. B2C is business to consumer. Let's see. Let's go. It's funny, I just looked at my screen over here. There's an old question from you guys, which is when is the time to buy corn? I don't know if you guys have followed corn over the past couple of days, but corn continues to crater. Let me take this price chart off of here, delete that one. Here's your price chart of corn. John, if you're still wondering when's the time to buy corn, not yet. Not yet. I mean, it's just an absolute free fall mode right now. It's continuing to drift lower and lower and lower. All right, let me real quickly go to Palo Alto Networks. So Palo Alto Networks, as you guys may have heard, they had their earnings call, which they beat their earnings, and then all of a sudden there's a class action lawsuit against them for securities fraud, which I was looking at, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me, the case that they were presenting. So I looked at Palo Alto Networks, and most analysts have very lofty targets on this one. 380, 390 is kind of the 370 is kind of the ballpark range for profit targets on this. And as you can see here, Palo Alto Networks just got absolutely slaughtered today, down 28% in a day. So I didn't feel very confident in this. I don't like catching falling knives this extreme. It just makes me a little bit nervous. But I did go and look at, what is an area where I would be interested in. And I do like this area down here where it just based for the better part of a month. During October of last year, we were really just basing right around this 140 to 145 mark. So I was like, all right, I got capital I want to put to use. I don't want to put a lot on this one because I don't want to take a lot of risk. I'm waiting for the right setups, and I just haven't had any big sell-off days to deploy, bulk of my capital the way I want to. So I'm being patient. I'm getting frustrated a little bit because I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. But I did go ahead and sell the 245 puts today on Palo Alto Networks. Now, when I say puts, I should rephrase it. A 245 put. I just did one just for fun because I'm interested to see what happens with this. The premium was well over 1%. I think I got $3.15. which is, going to get close to 1.3% rate of return, expiring March 15th. So I've got some time here, and it's definitely very, very risky. However, Palo Alto Networks is, in my mind, a dominant force out there, and if I could pick this thing up at 245, I'd feel okay with that for the long haul. So there you go. That's just one that I was looking at. We talked about it yesterday on the show, and I was saying, well, if we hold here at 284, I like it even better down here at 245. So perfect. This is the reason that you wait for things to happen, and we'll see how this goes over the next couple weeks. But just want to share that one with you because I really haven't done any new big trades. A couple of small little things here and there, but that one, there you go. What did Saba say? That's video. I have Nvidia GPU, business to business. 2070, yes. Yeah, I forgot what the number of my video card is, but it's great. They actually make fantastic video cards. All right, let me run through our top 8 here and run the gamut of this one. Your biggest loser today is Bitcoin. Again, I've been expecting there to be a pullback. I just feel like it's moved too far too fast. I'd love it to keep going, but 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. I'm okay with that in the long haul. Today, Bitcoin. Pretty big slide, 2.18%, dropped over $1,000 per Bitcoin, currently trading on the futures market at 50,955. Now, where is it going to go down to? Well, you could draw all kinds of different spots, but the closest one, which I think is the most obvious, is going to be right here, starting at about 50,285. Going to the tail of that, there's your next, at least for me, demand zone for anybody who is looking to be aggressive. If you are not aggressive, you could wait for much lower levels, but I don't know how low this is going to get. The net inflows going into Bitcoin still are very, very good. If you look at, there was a huge surge in this one yesterday, volume-wise and HODL, and then today it's kind of right back. This is a very bizarre chart, and if you guys saw this, this is the Van Eck Bitcoin ETF, spot ETF. And it's been doing roughly, 150,000 shares per day of it. And then yesterday, all of a sudden, it was at 6.8 million, and today back down to 300,000. So I don't quite understand why it was such a dramatic surge for Van Eck in one day. But the other one, the big guys here, you're seeing good volume in these, and that's important. Keep that good volume coming in. This is the ProShares Bitcoin ETF, and then you have the IBIT is the one I wanted. IBIT. That is the iShares one. And, volume here is still running 17 million a day. So there's a great amount of volume and liquidity coming into this. I think that Bitcoin will have a pullback, but I don't think it's going to be very big at all. I think you're going to see actually more upside movement here soon. So let's go in, look at our current market situation. If you look at the Russell 2000, these, of course, delayed numbers here. Russell down 0.48% on the day. I'm curious on this one real quick. Let me just check this because this is not reflecting. That was on the day. You've got actually much higher numbers. So these numbers are all out of whack. I'm not sure why that is. These are not updating. If you look at our current numbers for the NASDAQ, it's up significantly in the after hour session, but it's not showing here. So that is an error in TradingView. If I were to go to a daily here, all right, you can see that right now it's saying that the NQ is at 17,536, which is right there. It's actually much higher than that. It's way up here. It's 17.7. Huh. The strange things about markets, we're at 17,700 on the futures. And even with the 15-minute delay, this number should be way higher. It should be up here. So I'm not going to quote you these prices. They are not current. And for some reason, I'm not getting updated quotes from TradingView. All right, so what I'll do is I'll go to the ETFs. It makes it a bit easier. All right, so we don't get the after hours pieces there. So there's your daily on it. We have, as at the end of the day today, you had a hammer formation, but we're going to gap up tomorrow and well out of the range of that. So my rules for the hammer formation will not apply tomorrow because you're going to gap up and won't be able to make that trade anyway. On the day, you were looking at a 0.4% slide for the NASDAQ 100, but it's already up 1% in the after hour session. So all in all, fantastic there for the NASDAQ. SPY, similar picture, although it's got a bigger green candle on today's activity. It's also up 0.49%. Thank you, Nvidia, which is going to be that piece that pulls almost all these indexes up. IWM has a little hammer formation. It's slightly up in the after hours session. It's up 0.24%, but it was down 0.47 on the day. So all in all, it's negative, even with Nvidia's pull to the upside. Now, let's go back to our markets here for these pieces, which I'm hoping these numbers are right. just doesn't feel right. I feel like something's wonky with my my account because I'm not getting updated data. For your session today, you can see you've got a spinning top harami, right? You've got a small body candle here, long topping tail, and then you have it right inside of a big green candle from yesterday. So that's actually reversal candle. Looks like there's going to be downside pressure in gold tomorrow just based off of those two. Dollar index today, it's hugging that bottom line, guys. I really am nervous that it's going to break this. And if it, well, I guess not nervous. It's just, it represents an opportunity. But keep your eye on this one. A close down below that 103.96 mark on the Dixie could lead us to a much steeper decline in the dollar, which would mean a surge up in equities. And 10-year. 10-year keeps smacking its head against this high. It's been a week and a half that it just keeps hitting and hitting and hitting. Right now you're at 4.319. This type of movement here tells me it's pushing higher. It's looking to break out above this and move to the upside, which means that 4.5%, in my opinion, will be on the plate here soon. When you finish, could you look at UNG? Yeah, let's check out UNG. It's kind of rough for me today because I'm not sure why my charts aren't updating, and I don't like when that happens. Crude oil, again, just a little bit of an update today. I still feel like there's increasing buy pressure here. I do think you're going to see crude oil break to the upside, but we've got to get above this 79.29. So let's look at UNG. Actually, I'll start with natural gas, which today had a monster up day. But you look at it relative to its overall slide for the past month, that's nothing. Right? 12% move up today, natural gas. We mentioned that at some point this thing's going to turn around. Even when John Rowland was on the program, we talked about $2 being that floor, and John goes, I think you're going to get a little bit lower than that. Today, what you had was multiple pieces here, but one of them was, I forget the name, which company it was. I think it was Chesapeake, basically saying they're going to cut production. So, when we look at OPEC meetings and OPEC says, we're going to increase or cut production, that obviously has a huge impact on the price of oil. Well, when you have the big, natural gas companies say, hey, we're going to cut production, that also has it. And this goes back to the same kind of analogy with Bitcoin miners. In my digital assets program for Online Trading Academy this morning, we were talking about this. And, with crypto miners, there's a certain point that if they were to solve a block and were to earn Bitcoin, is it worth it for them? The energy cost it takes to do that, if Bitcoin price drops enough, there's no money in it for them. They'll just turn off their systems until it does make sense. Same thing for Chesapeake and some other energy companies. We're losing money here by extracting natural gas at this price. We'll just cut production, and that will reduce the supply coming into the market, which will drive prices up. So now you're getting the market participants playing a little bit of hardball going, hey, you know what? We need to drive prices back up. This is too low. It would not surprise me to see others follow suit, but you had a 12.5% gain today in NG. So if you look at UNG, which of course is a derivative of that, you've got this big gap up. The question is, does this signal the bottom, right? That I don't know. Is this the bottom where all of a sudden we start to see this rebound and move back up? Well, if the trend is any indication, natural gas is going to continue to go lower. But to what point? Remember, when you look at UNG, the problem with this is they just reverse split it. So they will reverse split and reverse split and reverse split over and over and over again. Your last split was January of this year. They did a 4-to-1 reverse split. What are the other ones? See if there are any other ones on here. No, they didn't. None that I see. There was another split back in 2018 for 4-to-1. So because this is a futures product, it's going to inherently keep getting lower and lower and lower because of backwardation and contango. So it will continue to drift lower and lower and lower, which is why we always talk about these being very bad vehicles to hold long term. UNG, Boyle, that type of stuff. You should not hold long term because the chart's going to look like this no matter what. It will just keep on declining because of the way this futures option or futures contracts are priced. Let's see. Boy, I got a whole bunch of chat coming in here. What do we got? Tom said, that's to Lisa. But Google is used by consumers like me on a daily basis. Plus, I have Gmail. I know it's free. Hey, I'm with you too. I love free emails. Now they're reading everything you do, but that's a different story. For gaming PCs, they are the best graphic card. I'd agree with that, Sava. AI has started troubling the businesses. Court orders Air Canada to pay out for chatbots, bad advice. Oh, really? I didn't hear that one. Do you think the 1% account could be sole retirement investment plan? 12% a year is great. Yeah, I absolutely think it could be. And I think that's, if you look at the rules behind at least my 1% strategy, and I know everyone's going to do things slightly differently, the whole point is you're doing diversified ETFs so that you don't take a lot of risk. I'm not, in my 1% accounts, because now the two of them, I'm not going to be taking big shots. I'm not going to be, going all in on Palo Alto Network selling puts because the premium's so great. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that you don't want to do that with your long-term retirement accounts. But if you're someone who's retired, I think it's actually a great practice because you do it once a month. You literally just once a month, options expire, on that third Friday of the month. The next Monday, you evaluate, see if there's any opportunities, and if not, you wait and you wait and you wait, and your goal is to get 1% per month. I don't believe that that's very hard to do. When you have a very bullish market like we've had since October, it's hard to find opportunities. That's definitely been a challenge for me. I have found some, but my usual bucket that I pull from, I'm not seeing a lot of great pain days. I love selling those puts when you have a nice big down day in one of those ETFs that I follow. So yes, I think it's a great strategy. If so, how would one learn more? Eric, I don't know. I don't have a class on it. I don't have a class or a XLT session on it. It's just something that I just do on my own. You'd have to just learn on selling cash secured puts. That's pretty much it. It's called the wheels. If you look up a wheel strategy, cash secured puts is really what that account is doing, targeting 1% per month. You could even go less than that and take a lot less risk, but that's it. Merlin, would you trade the hammer formation that's on the Russell or IWM? Let's go to IWM. The answer quickly before even looking at it is yes, I would. And the reason, it has to be very clear cut, number one. So I like this for a couple reasons. Number one, since mid-January, we've been on an uptrend. I know it's not great, but it has been making higher highs and higher lows. There you go. And if you look at this hammer formation that formed, it's on a pullback after a sharp rally. Great, I like that. So my rules are simple though, Les. What it has to do is it has to open down below this red horizontal line, which is the high of today's candle. So I take the high of the candle, which in this case on IWM is 198.35. If it opens up tomorrow down anywhere below 198.35 and then starts to move up, that's the buy point. If it gaps up tomorrow, right now it's already at 198.40, so it's 5 cents higher than that line. If it opens up higher than that and continues to move above, then forget it. If it opens up higher, drops back down below the line, and then moves above it, it's still in play for me. I know holding UNG long-term is a poor investment, but if this is the bottom, do you think UNG would be a good 1-year wheel strategy investment? Personally, I would say no, Dave. And the only reason I say that is just the sheer volatility of natural gas. In my mind, I'm thinking it just can't keep going down like this, right? So selling puts on it is probably not a bad idea. But I also would have said that at $2, and here you are at 177. That's pretty painful, and it actually got down in the 150 mark. So you're looking at an asset or an instrument that is just getting pummeled and beaten up. And if you were doing the wheel strategy on this one, let's say you did it for the last 6 months, you're getting hurt. You're really getting hurt on this one because it just keeps falling and falling and falling. Again, I do think if we haven't bottomed at 150, we're going to bottom around there very soon because, again, you're going to have producers taking their facilities offline and just the cost of it. If you look historically, let's go monthly on UNG. We're at historically low levels. This is going all the way back into 1998. You're talking 26 years. It hasn't been this low. So, I would argue you're coming into a point where it's like, this is probably going to be the bottom, but I'm not going to hang my hat on that. And if it is a 1% account, again, we don't want to take undue risks. And using a 1% account on something like a single instrument that's a futures product like natural gas, it would be against my rules in my 1% account. If that's something that you want to do, then that's okay. As Lisa says, I think there are much better stocks to trade the wheel strategy on. I would agree with that. I think it's just too risky to do. Could you do it? Yes, but the risk involved, it's not worth it in my opinion. All right. Do you use AI in your trading strategies? No, I don't. I don't use AI for anything other than doing my graphics for the show. There was a really cool, man, I wish I had it up here. I can't remember where it was. There's a new, so you guys know OpenAI. OpenAI is the AI database that runs ChatGPT. And with their new thing, they have this format to text video. It's called Sora. So you can write a paragraph and say, I want to have a picture of Merlin Rothfeld running down the street, and I want to have a tornado on the horizon, and I want to have thunderclouds off to the left, and I want to have a million swallows flying through the sky and lightning bolts. And it will create AI video, not a picture, but AI video. Now, I haven't played with it, but I've seen a couple examples, and I was like, whoa, like big time whoa. And I'll play with it probably over the weekend, maybe the next couple weeks, and see if I might actually start including some video stuff in the show that's generated from AI. But we'll see how that one goes. That's called Sora, S-O-R-A. You can look at it here. I'll even copy it. If you guys are interested, I'll copy it over. So anybody's into making videos, this could be a very powerful thing going forward. Now, I am a subscriber of ChatGPT, so I'm hoping that I actually get that for free, but we'll see. We will see what it looks like. There was some, so here's an example. You guys can see the graphic here. This is all done with AI, and I don't know about you, but this looks to me like someone is literally, this is a model shoot. Everybody's walking properly, and it looks like this is a model that someone paid to walk down the street in Japan, right? I think you guys could all see that. Here's what it was. Someone typed in, a stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon and animated city signage. She wears a black leather jacket, a long red dress, and black boots. And it created that from that text. Like, holy mind-boggling. This is really incredible what it's creating using simple prompts and AI. Same thing here, right? This looks like a historical footage of an old Wild West town, doesn't it? I mean, the graphic quality is pretty good. I feel like, oh, this is the Wild West here. Everybody just going to town. Let me meet you at the saloon, Jet. Well, someone typed in here, prompt, historical footage of California during the gold rush. And this is what was created. So, you guys were pretty fascinated by what I did with my Mid-Journey graphics. You wait. This whole thing here is going to change the way that we watch movies. Pretty soon, you're going to get a younger generation of movie producers that literally builds their entire movie using AI prompts and taking the script, putting it into the video, and just having it created all automatically without a film crew. Pretty amazing stuff. Anyway, let me wrap up for today. I'm going to go down these rabbit holes as I usually do. Let's talk about your earnings calendar. So let me bring this one up for you here. It'll take me just a second to get it up and running. Of course, the big news for today was the $1 trillion market cap of Nvidia growing even more. Went from $4.55 a share to $5.16. Pretty amazing. But tomorrow, it calms down significantly. You've got Block or Square, which I am excited to see what they do. You have PG&E, Northern Oil and Gas, but really not a lot of big names there. And then, of course, our Forex Factory announcements for tomorrow. Let me refresh this just to make sure I have the updated data. We can scroll down here and go to Wednesday. That's today. We didn't have much other than the FOMC meeting minutes, which I did not read. Tomorrow, though, we have more international stuff. So for you currency traders, finally we get some currency stuff. You've got Euro, the British pound will be in play as well because they all have flash services and manufacturing data, and the U.S. has their services and manufacturing data at 9:45 Eastern time, which is 15 minutes into the trading day. You see our flash services and manufacturing numbers. But wait, there's a lot more for the U.S. You've got unemployment claims. You have existing home sales, natural gas storage. Could be a pretty busy one, plus a couple of FOMC members speaking tomorrow. So it will be an exciting day for the U.S. markets. Gigi says, man, think of how this could be used to put falsely frame someone, put them in a scene. Yep. Yeah, they're going to have to start marking videos as being AI. There has to be some clarity with these deep fakes. The deep fake videos are going to get better and better and better, and you won't be able to tell. There may come a time, and my guess is probably going to be within a year, where I could take a script and just write it out, read everything I want, and I could upload some video of me, upload the old TraderMerlin shows, and then I don't even need to do shows anymore. I could literally just have my AI talking head read the script for me, and it'll know my body mannerisms, my gender, all that stuff. It's pretty incredible what's happening with AI, and Sora is the first one I've seen that does text to video, and it's pretty amazing. 405, the movie? I don't know the 405. I'll have to check it out. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I got places to go, things to do. Hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have something you want me to discuss on tomorrow's show, let me know. I'm happy to discuss pretty much whatever. You can email me at tradermerlin@gmail.com or put them down below any of the YouTube videos. That's the easiest way to get your questions answered because I'll go through that. Put them there, get the questions answered on tomorrow's show. Hopefully you have a great day with this market chaos that's going to be there tomorrow. Most likely a gap up. The question is, does it sell off and start to close that gap? We'll see. And it can taste your bourbon. That's true. It can't taste your. It cannot drink from, but it can pretend it's drinking. It can pretend it's drinking. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I will see you all on tomorrow's show for whatever topic you want. Just let me know on YouTube, and I will gladly do it. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow.